Good day, everyone. Welcome to Envision English. Today, in our series of lectures, Cbse Grade 10, we are going to have a look into that Unit 3, two stories about flying. And this lesson had been divided into two parts. First one is His First Flight, written by Liam O. Flaherty. And second part is Black Aeroplane, written by Frederick Forsyth. Of course, between these two lessons, these two parts, we have one thing in general, one thing in common, that is both the stories are discussing about flying. But the first one is talking about the flying of a bird, and second one is talking about the modern flying, which means a flying of a man in his aeroplane, in a private aeroplane. So this is what the one thing in common, and remaining everything will be, I hope, not totally different. So let us have a look into his first flight. Of course, you can remember the name of the book, Grade 10 Cbse English first book, prose book is, name of the book is First Flight. So from here they might have taken the name. So after reading this lesson, you can understand why they have kept the name for this book as First Flight and all. And before I'm starting this, I would like to tell you the theme or one-liner or message behind the lesson, what you are going to understand at the completion of this first part. Self-confidence and courage, and how to face the fear and how to overcome the fear. So this is what the central message they are going to discuss here. So when I am talking about fear and courage, we should not forget that in the previous lesson itself, when we are talking about Nelson Mandela, we have clearly mentioned what is courage. I hope you all can remember what is courage. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the overcoming it, but coming out of it. So now, how that seagull come out of its fear and how it can able to overcome the fear, let us see in the lecture. And the characters or the names which are all going to be discussed in the story is the young seagull. He can be called as a protagonist of the story. He can be called as the important character of the story. And his parents, and also his two brothers. Here the young seagull is personified as a he. Personification is used here. So his two brothers and one younger sister. So how many of them altogether? Young seagull is two brothers and one younger sister. So altogether 1, 2, 3 plus 1, 4, and parent. So these and all you can remember. Now, let me read the first line of this lesson. The first two lines almost will tell you what we are going to discuss. The young seagull was alone on his ledge, was alone on his place. What about others? Let us see. His two brothers and his sister had already flown away the day before. But for the last one day, it is waiting there, because one day before itself, its brothers and sisters and also parent, they all what happened? They all flown away. They all went away. And it is waiting there even after 24 hours. Why? Because of the loss of self-confidence, because of the loss of courage, because it don't know how to face the fear. That's why it is staying there. He had been afraid to fly with them, and somehow when he had taken a little run forward, but we cannot tell that it didn't take any steps. We cannot tell that, because from this line we can understand somehow when he taken a little run forward to brink of the ledge, to the edge of that rock, to the edge of the rock, when it came, it is not able to proceed further. Why? Because of the lack of confidence. And now it is a time to have a look into the glossary. What are all the important words we have to remember? Then if you know the meaning of the word, then you can easily follow me up. The first word can be brink. What is my brink? In the page number 32, brink means the extreme edge of something. And the second word is ledge. Ledge means something that this extended portion from the flat construction area. For example, in the olden days, during the king's era and all, the palace might have this kind of architecture to place the security there. Now you can understand what is ledge. And flap, what is my flap? The movement of the wings. And certain, what is certain? Conformed belief. So certain and desperate. In the same page number 32 it is there. Last line you can see. Desperate means loss of hope. A desperate young seagull. Like that you can put the title also when you are writing for a 6-mark question. And in the page number 33, first line, shrilly, upbraiding. What is my shrilly ma? High-pitched voice. Upbraiding. The meaning is there in the same page itself. Scolding. So upbraiding means nothing but it is scolding. So, and perfecting. What is perfecting? To make something perfect. And herring. What is herring? Herring means a soft-finned sea fish, a kind of food for the birds. And devour means nothing but eat something fastly because you are hungry for a day, you are hungry for a week. So you can understand that after 3 days, after 2 days, if someone is given a food, now how he will eat. This is called devour. And cowardice. Cowardice means a lack of courage. And that's all. And cackle, cackle. Cackle means laughing in a loud voice. So with the help of these glossaries, now you can get into this lesson. And the remaining glossaries I will introduce you when I am coming to this consent portion. Now let me revise once again. We are going to read the lesson, 2 stories about flying. It is divided into 2 parts. And the one-liner about this lesson is self-confidence and courage and how to face the fear. And some glossaries I have mentioned to you. What are all the glossaries I have mentioned? And that you have to remember. And how many characters we have mentioned. So after keeping everything in your mind, now we can get into the lesson. The young seagull is waiting there for a long time to take its first flight, to have its first flight. And the young seagull is living in a ledge. From the ledge, in the bottom of the ledge, there is a ocean, there is a sea. But from the ledge to sea, it is almost a kilometer distance will be there. So that it is feeling afraid of it. When it started to fly, it believes that its wings won't support him. This is called a lack of self-confidence. That's why it didn't start its first flight. But what happened means, with him, its 2 elder brothers and 1 younger sister, they all lived. But they all taken their first flight 1 day ago. And up to this, he hadn't eat anything because his mother didn't want to give him anything when he is not able to fly. And the brothers and sister, they somehow managed to collect the food for them. So in this meantime, it is in a hungry mode. Now suddenly it saw that its mother coming towards him, towards the ledge. Now it is completely prepared to catch the food what is coming towards him. Because of the hungriness, that you can understand. But what is going to happen, that is something different that it didn't imagine. From this line in the page number 32, we can understand how the parent, which means the father and mother, had instigated or induced him to fly. His mother and father had come around, calling him shrilly and upbraiding him. Shrilly, I already told you, high-pitched voice. In high-pitched voice, upbraiding him, which means scolding him, and threatening to let him starve on the ledge unless he flew away. That clearly told that they clearly threatened him that if you are not able to fly means you will be starved on the ledge, otherwise we won't give anything. But for the life of him, he could not move. But he, of course, even though it feels hungry, it don't want to move in order to save its life. And that was 24 hours ago. That was 24 hours ago. In this area, we might expect the question. 24 hours ago, since then, nobody had come near him. It has been isolated. It has been alienated. The day before, all day long, he had watched his parents flying about with his brothers and sister. So, they are making that young seagull to long for the first flight. So that is why the parent and the other brothers and sisters, they were all flying around him. After seeing them, he might be trying to fly. That is what their idea. And so now it's the next day. The sun was now ascending the sky, blazing on his lid that faced the south. He felt the heat because he had not eaten since the previous nightfall. So from the previous nightfall, the entire day, almost 24 hours, he didn't eat anything. That's why it can feel the sunlight easily. Because because if you are feeling hungry now, you might not be able to sleep nicely. So that when the sunlight came, it can easily felt that the new day came. Now we can see the actions which makes the young seagull to fly, which was done by the parent, which means the father and also the brothers and sisters. What they have done. Only his mother was looking at him. She was standing on a little high hump on the plateau. The mother is standing there. Her white breast thrust forward now and again. She tore a piece of fish that lay at her feet and then scrapped. So it tear the fish into pieces and scraped each side her beak on the rock, and then it is making the fish into the and it is shaping the fish into the eatable form. The sight of the food maddened him. So after seeing that fish was torn to pieces, this and all maddened him. He became mad because of food. Why? Because for a long time, for long hours, it hadn't eaten anything, almost 24 hours. That's why it maddened him. It made him mad. He became lunatic. Now, ga ga ga, ga ga ga. He cried, begging her to bring him some food. So now, it started, literally started begging. It literally started begging because it not able to fly away, and so that for the last 24 hours it didn't eat anything. Now it can do one thing: one, it can fly, or else it can beg. Then they will come and give. So this decision was taken by the young seagull, and she screamed back derisively. What is meant derisively? Mockingly, mocking, to make fun of it. So the mother screamed back derisively, mockingly, because he is such a mean character. That's what they are trying to convey. If you are not able to fly means you are such a mean character. But he kept calling plaintively, and after a minute or so, he uttered a joyful scream. Why? For the long 24 hours, it was so unhappy, it was so tired, but there in the face of young seagull, we can see it was somewhat happy. Why? Means his mother had picked up a piece of the fish and was flying across to him. So now that mother is coming with the piece of fish, so that it believes that the mother will come and definitely give me. And eagerly tapping the rock with his feet, trying to get nearer to her as she flew across. But here comes the twist. She was just opposite to him. So now the young seagull is there. That mother seagull is coming there. In the beak of the mother seagull, there is one fish, the piece of fish. Now it is waiting. So now in the Indian cinemas, there will be an interval scene coming like that. They are waiting. They are waiting in front of each other. Suddenly, he waited a moment in surprise, wondering why she did not come nearer. She didn't come nearer. She came and she take the left or right and she went away. And then, maddened by hunger, he dived at the fish. So he dived at the fish because of the initiation taken by its mother, not because of a brother, not because of a sister. Of course, they have done it in the initial stage, but that action happened because of the action of mother. And with a loud scream, he fell outwards and downwards into the space. Then a monstrous terror seized him. So it got seized by the terror. It got arrested by the terror because it feels that its wings won't support him. And the heart stood still. He feels that his heart is not beating. He could hear nothing, but it only lasted a minute. The next moment, he felt his wings spread outwards. The wind rushed against his breast feathers, then under his stomach and against his wing. So now it can feel that air which is coming and touching its breast, and which is coming and touching its feet, and it is coming and crossing over the body. So now it started to fly. But now no longer it feel afraid of anything, but it felt somewhat dizzy. Dizzy means what, ma? An uncomfortable feeling of spinning around or losing one's balance. And soared. What is mean soared? Fly high. And surely already we have mentioned. And cawed, cawed, which means that harsh cry. And beckoning, beckoning, which means a gesture, a kind of body gesture. With these glossaries, what all the glossaries we have mentioned? Once again, remind it: beckoning, gesture; cawed, harsh cry; and then dizzy, fly high; swooped, swooped, to fly or move down suddenly. As it started flying, now as it didn't eat anything for the last 24 hours, now it suddenly came and it fell down on the green surface. It's nothing but it is an ocean, and it felt that it is getting dry, it is getting sank into it, and his legs sank into it, and he screamed with fright means fear, and attempted to rise again, flapping his wings. But he was already tired, so that it may not be able to rise again. And it came to the decision that, and it is a next in this next term, in this next turn, we are going to finish it. But later what happened, and because it was exhausted, it was exhausted, and by the strange exercise, you don't know how it had done and all. Out of the fear, it had done something. His feet sank into the green sea, and then his belly touched it, and he sank no further. So its feet went into the water, and also its belly touched the water, but further it didn't went inside. It didn't went inside the water. It started to swim, and he was floating on it. And around him, his family was screaming, praising, and their beaks were offering him scraps of dogfish. Last line is very important. He had made his first flight. How it had made its first flight? Because it is a journey, it is an evolution of a young seagull from an afraid or a young seagull with a lack of self-confidence, a lack of courage, and it don't know how to face the fear. It started there, and because of the continuous practice, or because of the continuous stimulation or instigation given by its parent and brothers and sister, and because of that, now it made its first flight. Now it became a fulfilled seagull, which can able to fly on its own, which can able to collect the food on its own. So that from this lesson, what we can understand: hard work, and also the support, and also the self-confidence, without any doubt about yourself. If you have these three in a one line, means we can gain the victory, and we can be a successful one. And thank you all for watching this video. And in the next video, we will be discussing about the black aeroplane, as it is the second part of this lesson, as it is a continuation. So Do watch it, and all the best, guys. Thank you all.